start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 believe. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the one for me. You just believe, you just believe, you just believe, you just believe. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 believe. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the one for me. You just believe, you just believe, you just believe, you just believe. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 believe. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart,
Yes, people. Apologies for the slight delay, but we are here. We have made it safe and sound. I was in work all evening and I was looking forward to the show. I did miss the Liverpool Wolves game. I came home, I opened up my Twitter, and I saw the fucking timeline going absolutely crazy at some refereeing and VAR decisions. Now, fortunately, Joe, the techie boy, he did watch it, so he'll fill us in. But I want you in the chat to talk to me too. In this stream, of course, we're going to talk about Premier League, what's happened in the Premier League the last week or so. Obviously, I put out a video yesterday on City Chelsea. I was at the game, so I didn't get to analyze it properly, but we're going to talk about that now. So get in your thoughts on City Chelsea. We'll talk about Chelsea tomorrow. I'm sick of Chelsea, man. You know that? I'm fucking sick of Chelsea. And should we draw with them tomorrow, it'll go to a replay and we'll play Chelsea again. So please, God, we don't play Chelsea again. Listen, plenty to talk about. There's a Jude Bellingham video coming out tomorrow. We may touch on that again tonight. I don't know. We're going to have a free-flowing stream. Obviously, we've been doing more videos recently than we have been doing streams, but we do want to keep streaming as much as possible because we love chatting to you guys live. We love seeing what you guys have to say and interacting with you. You know, you're the core of this channel. It's you people who smash the like button, who are subscribed, who get involved every week. You are what keep the channel going. So we want to chat to you as much as possible. Big plans as always, people. You know the drill. Big plans as always, but I suppose we may as well start with Liverpool. Let's see who's in the building first, and then we'll get into Liverpool talk. Make sure you've all hit the like button, people. It massively helps. It'll get the numbers up if you just smash the like button too. Dano in the chat, he says smash the like button. Smash the like button if you love Johnny Stones. If you love Johnny Stones, smash the like button, people. D1 in the chat, Barry in the chat, Coach's Corner. We've got big up Daps in the building. I hope you're good, my brother Daps. Haven't seen you in a while. We should catch up soon. Maybe get you on stream if you're about. Barry, yeah, Fraser. Few of the regulars, man. Low numbers tonight. If you hit the like button, the numbers will go up. We'll get the community booming, as they say. But we may as well start. Grizz Tedder can't defend this. I saw Grizz is live now. I went briefly into his, I think it's a call-in show he's got going on. He doesn't look a happy man. If I was a Liverpool fan right now, I would not be a happy person. New York City, big up the 894, big up your damn self. Yeah, listen, I suppose you may as well tell me, Joe. I know what happened, but I only know that based off what I'm seeing on Twitter and, you know, live score and whatnot. I didn't get the emotions. I wasn't watching it. So you run me through it. You tell me the roller coaster that was Liverpool versus Wolves. They seem to be in absolute shambles right now, and I'm enjoying it because this was the team that was on for the quad only a matter of months ago, and now they're absolutely tanking it. So listen, you tell me about it. People in the chat, get in your thoughts on the Liverpool Wolves situation. Joe will probably answer the more in-depth questions, but I'll give you my thoughts on Liverpool season in general. Take it away, Joe.
Well, I tried to explain the whole offside goal to you just kind of vaguely, so you knew vaguely what was going on. I won't get into that in more detail, but in terms of the actual game, it was fairly even, I thought. I mean, just off the bat, before a ball was even kicked, Liverpool put out, like, what I would say was their strongest side at the moment, because Van Dijk is injured, so obviously he can't be in there, but I would say that is probably, on paper, their strongest side. They had Gakpo coming in, making his first appearance, Nunes there, Salah there, Alisson was in goal. They didn't bring in a sub-keeper for a cup match. They went for it, and it didn't work. They were awful. I'm sorry. At the moment, they are so bad. You know what? Grizz has been banging this drum since before the World Cup, hasn't he, about Liverpool. The second half of the season, they will turn it around. They will finally come good. They just haven't. They just haven't clicked. Wolves, I don't think you could say they were the better side. I think that's taking it too far because they just kind of sit there and just sit back. I think Liverpool could have easily won it.
Can I please cut across you? I just have to say something that came to my mind. When you said Grizz has been banging this drum that second half of the season, they click into gear, my mind immediately went to a Jonathan Morley compilation I saw today.
Call the season off. Call the fucking season off.
It's the 7 times in the first half of the season where he says, the season starts tonight. The season starts tonight after they've won a game. Then they go and tank it to Nottingham Forest and he goes, call the season off. Call the season.
Honestly, that is Liverpool Football Club at the moment. They get a good result. They're like, right, we can kick on now. And then they turn up the next week and it's like, what here, lads? What is going on? Like, they are so just hit and miss. I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on, but I can't say I'm not enjoying it. It's great to watch. I thought Wolves did give them a run for their money, but they went like by far and away the better side. Liverpool could have nicked it. Wolves should have nicked it. Alisson, I don't know what he was doing today. Alisson, in my opinion, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion, he's the best goalkeeper in the world. He is the best goalkeeper in the world, but tonight he had an absolute clanger for the first Wolves goal. He didn't give him one chance. He gave him 2 chances where he just kicked the ball back to them. I don't know what he's doing. We always know he's not been the greatest with his feet, but he's improved in that area to where he's solid enough. But tonight he just looked so nervous, and then you could see the mistakes actually had an effect for the rest of the game. He was terrified whenever the ball came near him at times in the game just because of the mistakes he made earlier on. So that was kind of a recipe for disaster, really. And I think Wolves, I mean, fair play to them. They are near the bottom of the table in the Premier League, and they turned up to Anfield and gave Liverpool a game. Despite how bad Liverpool are, they gave them a game, and they should have won it. But then we get on to the offside goal that Wolves were absolutely robbed. This referee, Andrew Madley, the same referee that refereed us against Everton, and the same referee that did Arsenal-Newcastle. This is his third game in a row where he's had an absolute disaster of a refereeing performance. And he'll still be a ref next weekend when the Premier League starts again. He will still be on that weekend of Premier League fixtures, even though he's had 3 piss-poor refereeing performances in a row. I don't understand. I mean, we can break this down to the various. I think there was 3 different offside calls that they were looking at. The first one was the cross that came in when the corner came back out. There was a cross that came back in, and it looked as if Totti might have been offside. But if you zoom in, Trent is keeping him onside, so he's onside there. And then the cross doesn't even reach in. The cross comes back out. There's a long-range shot, takes a couple of deflections, ends up at Totti's feet. At this point, there's about 3 Liverpool players on the line, so he's onside there as well. Lionel's got his flag up. Totti's got his top off, and he's ran into the corner and started celebrating like he's won the game, which he has full right to do because he should have won the game. Linesman sat there with his flag up like a melon because for some reason he's seen an offside somewhere. And then the VAR checks it, 2 of which nobody's surprised. We don't see or get any we don't know what they're looking at because they're showing a camera angle of something that, he's onside. They're showing a camera angle of him stood in front of 3 Liverpool players in the box. It's like, well, he's onside there, so they have to give this goal. And then they show the one where the cross comes in from the second phase of play where it's marginal, but he's onside there again. And then about 5 minutes later, after they disallowed the goal, 5 minutes later, they show a replay of what they disallowed it for, which was Matheus Nunes being offside, the original corner taker being offside when the ball comes back out to him. But the replay that they've shown of which they came to that offside decision, you can't see him on the camera angle. He's not in the shot. You can't tell if he's offside. You can't see him. But they've disallowed it. They've disallowed the goal for that reasoning of Matheus Nunes is offside when the corner comes back out to the corner taker, but you can't see him. And that's their reasoning. Their reasoning is, well, the linesman has flagged it and we can't tell whether he is on or off because we can't see it, so let's just stick with the linesman's decision, the on-field decision, which is pointless, really, isn't it? Well, you might as well not have VAR at that point. You might as well just stick with the on-field decision. I mean, what's the point? If you can't see it, why is it there? And then I've seen an angle after the game where you can just about see the top of Matheus Nunes' head from when the header comes back out from the corner, and he looks onside to me. So I'm so confused. If they could show a better angle, maybe I could get a better understanding. Maybe any of us could get a better understanding. I really don't know. It's just a complete shambles. Nobody knows what's happened because they've given an offside for something that no one can see whether it's offside or not because they don't have a camera angle, but yet they still give it as offside, which is just really, really, really confusing. As if you can't see a reason to disallow it, surely you can't disallow it. But I don't know how it works. I am so confused. I don't know. It's the most confusing thing I've ever seen. But from the replays that we were shown, he was onside. The goal should have stood. It was perfectly fine, but they still disallowed it. And their reasoning was, well, he might have been offside, but we didn't see it. That's the best I can describe it. It's the most confusing offside I've ever seen. You can't see that he's offside, but apparently they've come to the conclusion that he is.
Like I said, people, I didn't see the game. I'm just in the door from work, but that was an absolute roller coaster based off Joe's description.
All over the place. No one knows what's going on. They're still debating it after the game. There were 10 minutes after the game, and ITV still don't have a camera angle of the offside. It's baffling. It's bizarre, but it happened. I guess the only thing you can say is it's happened. It goes to a replay now, which means one extra game for Liverpool and one extra game for Wolves. I'd expect Liverpool to go and win that because it's hard for them to play worse than they did today, and they still got a draw out of it. So I just feel really sorry for Wolves, to be honest. I don't see how you can disallow it if you can't think of a reason. If there is no reason that you can point to and say it should be disallowed for that reason, then you can't disallow it.
I wrap my head around how at this day and age, big 2023, where they introduced VAR. Well, it must be 5-6 years ago now. We got introduced to VAR. How it's not functioning properly, or they don't have all the angles covered, or some of the pitch isn't in frame to be analysed. I can't understand that, and it seems to me now. Chat, you can correct me if it's happened anywhere else, but I'm 99% certain this has happened at Anfield before. This has happened whereby they said the system was malfunctioning or an angle wasn't covered, and I'm almost certain we were involved in that game as well, where a decision didn't go our way, or maybe it
I remember that.
Was it possibly the second yellow Milner should have got for a challenge on Bernardo?
There's been many over the years where we've gone, why is VAR not getting involved? I mean, VAR can't get involved for a second yellow card, so I kind of understand that Bill one from a couple of years was it last year? A couple of years ago, it was last year, wasn't it? The Milner at Anfield, the second yellow card.
There was some incident where
a couple of years ago, Trent handball in the box. They said the VAR was turned off. It wasn't working.
That's the one. That's the one. Trent, blatant handball, and it was one of his 2 or 3 handballs that night as well. But there was one where you go, listen, if that's not a penalty, I quit. You know, I stop all this shit because it's a blatant penalty. And they said VAR was off, or they forgot to flip the switch, or the electricity wasn't, or they didn't pay their Wi-Fi bills, or something stupid like that. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. And listen, I'm not emotionally invested in this game. I didn't see it, and I don't give a fuck about Wolves versus Liverpool. But it is really annoying, these inconsistencies we're having with the technology that we're supposed to be relying on, and being told is only going to help the game and better the game and forward the game, because it's not. I assume that Wolves fans sitting on the supporters buses going back to Wolverhampton tonight, who are looking at that footage on their phones going, oh my fucking God. Because as you were talking, I was flicking through Twitter, and I've seen video replays, I've seen angles, photo, or people who've got, screenshots and whatnot, and I'm sitting here going, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think everybody in the chat who I'm reading your messages are on the same page, that they don't see anything wrong with it. I just can't get my head around how in 2023 we don't have the technology, or Anfield doesn't have the technology. Why are we so afraid of going to Anfield? They don't even have fucking Wi-Fi there. Do you know what I mean? They don't have running electricity by the sounds of it, or their fucking technology doesn't work there. What's so scary about this place, other than the fact that, actually, you know what? I can see why you're scared, because you'd be robbed.
There's too many incidents. There's too many incidents over the years involving Liverpool where you just have to look at it and go, what is going on? I mean, you look at last year, Milner should have been sent off, albeit it's a second yellow, so VAR can't get involved. There was, I think, was it Fabinho or Thiago or both at the home game last season, the 2-2 with the Etihad, where I think both of them had like a solid argument for a red card in that game, and they just weren't given one. There was the Raheem Sterling offside goal that should have been a winner, that essentially kept Liverpool in a title race at that point when that goal was disallowed, because they took the screenshot from the wrong point of where the ball's already left. I think it was De Bruyne's foot. The ball had already been played, and then they take the screenshot, so he's offside in the screenshot, but they've taken the screenshot at the wrong point. So again, the technology isn't working properly when Liverpool are playing, and it's just bizarre. It's just really, really bizarre. I don't understand it. It always seems to be them that gets it. I know people will point to there's definitely incidents involving us. I mean, just go back last season, Rodri handball at Everton. I mean, you could argue that probably should have been a handball, but again, there's just so many Liverpool incidents, and he keeps on going and going and going. And the ones at Anfield are borderline scandalous, where you could point that out and go, that's arguably match fixing. It's that bad and that blatant. Like, I just don't understand.
Listen,
I'm really hesitant to say scrap.
It's one thing to have a VAR, to have a decision that goes to VAR, and say the person running VAR gets the decision wrong, and we all disagree, and whatever. That's one thing. But for the VAR to not be covering the incident at all, that's a new level of bullshit, is basically what I'm saying. I want to address a troll in the chat here, a guy called AFC. He says, Hugh, why do you support Man City when you're not from Manchester? Can you not hear my Manchester accent? And he
Put
says
it on.
Hugh is a plastic City fan. I get this all the time, man. I get called a plastic City fan because I'm from Dublin all the time. And it doesn't bother me because I'm pretty secure and comfortable in why I support City. In short, AFC, listen, I'm sure it's all love and you're not here to try and cause trouble. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. My grandparents, on my mother's side, they lived in Manchester for the best part of 35, 40 years. They moved back when I was about 7, 8. And my granddad, when he lived there, he was working on construction sites and all his mates supported City. So he started going to City. He got into City for 35, 40 years. And he came back and introduced me to Manchester City. So here I am, supporting Manchester City. It's all love, I'm sure. But if you're trying to troll, go fuck yourself. Different rules at Anfield. New York City says, as Pep said, it's Anfield. Simple as that. AFC is still trolling. Hate Man City. Let's have a bring on this title race. Let's have a listen. I'm enjoying the title race, AFC. I'm enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to seeing our bout very soon. But listen, I think we should just park that Liverpool shit there for a second because it's just annoying, isn't it? It's one of those things that you go, it's just sad. It's just sad that football has to endure, and at the highest level has to endure that level of bullshit. And I do feel for the Wolves fans, particularly those who went to Liverpool, gave up their Saturday evening to go to Anfield, and they're robbed of a very special feeling. Whatever about it being against Liverpool, I know that we have a rivalry with Liverpool, and we don't.
It's a last-minute winner, man. It's heartbreaking stuff.
They're robbed. They're absolutely robbed of a special moment there. So my heart goes out to the Wolves fans. But listen, let's park it there. Let's have a better conversation. Let's talk about something much, much more important to us, closer to home. And that, of course, is, boom, City Chelsea. I did a short review yesterday, like I said on the video, for those of you who watched it. I only kind of spoke about it based on the fact that I was at the game. So I kind of always analyze games better when I watch them on TV more so than when I'm actually at the game. I'm sure those of you who are match-going fans in the chat, I see Daps in the chat, I'm sure he's probably the same. When you're actually at the match, it's much harder to analyze the intricate play and what goes on and almost who's playing well unless they're really standing out. So I find it hard to analyze that game properly. The Chelsea away end, it's not great for full pitch view and watching the football unfold in front of you. So that's what I'm basing it off. But listen, we beat Chelsea 1-0, absolutely massive result. I gave you my summarized thoughts in that video, but I want you lot in the chat to give your thoughts. And Joe, of course, why don't you give us your thoughts? It was a Super Jack save the day, baby.
Of course you want to go there first, but that's not where I'm going to start. I think we've got more important matters to address firsthand. First off, Pep Guardiola. I mean, hats off to him. He made some substitutions, which is something I've been absolutely screaming at the top of my lungs for. Reggie, he made 2 subs at half time. I'm sorry, are we talking about the same Pep Guardiola here? 2 subs at half time. Mental stuff. He never does that. In a close game, he never makes subs until like the 80th minute when it's like, well, it's far too late now, mate. What are you doing? But he made subs, and the subs changed the game. So that's hats off to him for one. But to bring it back down to earth slightly, I don't know what the fuck he's playing at with the system that he did in the first half. He said, in the first half, he even said he was unhappy. He didn't like what he saw, and that's why he made the changes. I am bemused as to why he decided to go, you know what, let's take Rodri as essentially a centre-half. Let's put Foden as a wing-back on one side, Cancelo as a wing-back on the other side, Gundogan in the holding role, and it was all over the place, and it clearly didn't work. Cancelo looked really uncomfortable, Foden looked really uncomfortable, and barely got a kick, in my opinion. I don't think we used him at all, really, in the first half. Rodri wasn't bad, but I don't know why he's playing that far back. Like, he's a centre-half in the back 4, and then when we have the ball, he steps up into midfield. It's just really, really, really weird, and I've sat there scratching my head going, what is going on? What's he doing? Experimental Pep, he's back. He hasn't left. But at the end of the day, he saw what he picked out what he didn't like. He changed it at half-time with the 2 subs, and we went on, and he made 2 more subs that won us the game. That's it. We're not looking for performances. We're going for a really, really rough patch at the moment, in my opinion, where we're getting results for the most part, but the football isn't great. You look at Leeds, the first half against Leeds was diabolical. Everton was just poor throughout the entire game, and the same thing with Chelsea. We weren't great. I think Chelsea were a better team, but better team doesn't win the game always. That's not always how it happens, and I think 3 points was the main thing. Like you keep saying on these videos, put the pressure on Arsenal. By the time we played United, it could be 2 points going into a North London derby. That'd be an ideal situation for us to put it on them. So if they draw, we're within 1 game. That is an ideal situation. If they drop points, we could be within a game of going top of the league. So we just need to keep plugging away. But I mean, we have to go there, don't we? Grealish and Mahrez. I mean, they don't work together, but they did work together on this occasion. They saved the game, really. 2 substitutions. I've been a fair critic of both of them. I think rightly so as well, in my opinion. I think it was the right decision to put both of them on the bench, or at least one of them on the bench, because they just hadn't been playing particularly well. But the stats will tell you. I know we always say that Grealish isn't a stats man, but the stats will tell you he's got 3 assists in his last 3 Premier League games. So, credit where
Say
credit...
it louder, yeah? Say it louder.
Yeah, credit where credit is due. He's got 3 assists in his last 3 Premier League games, which is exactly what I was looking for. I was never looking for him to go and score goals from the day he signed. I was expecting him to create chances and pop in with assists, right? That's the one thing I expected. However, I won't just turn around and completely flip it and go, yeah, he's great. You should be starting every single game. Like, of course, he's earned his place back in the team. But he needs to carry on. He can't be going back to these...
He's class. He's so fucking class.
Yeah, but he can't be going back to these just average 7 out of 10s every week. He needs to continue this chipping in every now and then until the end of the season. This is a big run-in. Big running. Chelsea again. Might even be Chelsea again if we draw. United, Spurs a couple of times. Arsenal on the horizon. Champions League football is a month away. He needs to keep it up. Keep it going. And again, he's earned his place back in the team. Again, I think it was the right decision to bench him because I just hadn't been that impressed from what I saw. But again, he was called to make an impact on the game, which is something that for the longest time ever I've said he's not a very good substitute because I don't think he's an impact player, but he was an impact player. He got the win. Happy days. He gets the praise.
I like Dap's message here. He says, I want to see Haaland or Foden, Haaland, Alvarez up top with De Bruyne and Grealish in behind him. I mean, I said it on my video yesterday, and I really mean it. I think if you love football and you love watching good football, there is genuinely something so beautiful and almost old-fashioned and traditional about seeing a player like Grealish pick up the ball in a deep line position in the center of the park where he's a winger, but he seems to drift into the center, and that's a new thing. Last season, Grealish he'd hold the line, he'd hold the touchline, he'd keep his width, and he was almost, I don't know, ghosting through games because he was so far out wide and he wasn't coming looking for it. And then when he would get it, he'd turn back and he'd give it back to the fullback or the centre half. And we all know that. Boring Grealish. And I get that. That was frustrating. But this season, we're seeing Grealish drift into the middle. He's looking to pick up the ball. He wants to draw fouls. He wants to take on players. And that's all you want. Whether the stats are good or not, if you watch it with your eyes, and I've said this for so long, and I think most of you agree, who like Jack Grealish, to say, when you watch it with your eyes, his performances this season have been positive, and they've been a positive influence on our overall performance when we performed well. So Grealish in midfield, picking up that ball from deep, driving at the opposition midfield, 9 times out of 10, it ends in a positive result. He'll either draw a foul, we retain possession, or get a set piece in an attacking position, or else he creates something, and the space by him drawing players who are inclined to pull him down. Usually, he's creating space for other players. Like, if you watch it, you'll see what sense it makes, and he's doing this regularly, and he's adding it more to his game. He deserved his assist against Chelsea on Thursday. It's something that's bothered me about him, and probably with you, Joe, as well, and all of you who watch City on a weekly basis, is that Grealish has no look. He really has no look. He's performed really quite well in many games this season, and he's just never got his reward. He never got the look of the draw. He never gets the goal. A keeper will pull off a world-class save, or he'll tee someone up for a goal and they won't score. I get it. The 2 misses he had for an actual goal against Leeds on both occasions, unforgivable. Both shocking misses. He should have scored. But he's still creating things, and he deserved that bit of luck where Kepa, if we're being real, should have got that. Kepa,
absolute howler.
It's an easy collection for Kepa, that ball across the 6-yard box, but Grealish gets that little bit of luck. That one moment where the keeper doesn't do it and makes a mistake and causes his team havoc, Grealish gets that bit of luck. He gets his assist and he gets his reward. Listen, he deserves it, and I'm buzzing for him. I'm genuinely buzzing for him because I think he has a future at this club. I think he's going to be a huge part of our team. He just needs to keep improving. We can see the improvements coming slowly. Last season, it was dull, it was dire. He wasn't adding enough. This season, the performances from the start of the season to now have been gradually improving, and now he's gradually adding goals and assists. I know he got his goal against Wolves, blah, blah, blah. Should have scored a few against Chelsea. Should have scored a few against Leeds. got his 2 assists against Leeds, got his assist against Chelsea in the league game. It's improvement. It's gradual improvement. And this is something that we've seen so often with Pep signings. It's just gradual improvement. And then one day you eventually go, hang on, this guy's actually class. You know, when Rodri first arrived, I'm sure plenty of you will remember with Rodri, he didn't look comfortable. We weren't actually sure on Rodri, but because we had a world-class Fernandinho in front of him, we were kind of like, we weren't putting the spotlight on him, and he didn't cost 100 million either, did he? So the spotlight wasn't on him. But Rodri had to grow into his role. And then it was just kind of an epiphany, wasn't it? Or it randomly came to us last year. We went, hang on, Rodri is class. You know, Rodri is class. So I genuinely think that moment is going to come for Jack. It's going to come. He just needs to keep slowly improving, slowly adding things to his game, goals, assists, keep being threatening, and then we'll eventually understand, you know, what it was all about. Always trust Pep. Always trust Pep's decisions. He does not make mistakes often, Pep, and I still back it. I've backed Jack Grealish since he walked through the door, and I'll back Jack Grealish till he leaves through the door. Honest to God, I've got full faith in this guy, and I have so much evidence to prove it now. Whenever it does click, and we're all going, all right, listen, Jack is class. I'll be that guy saying, I told you so. I knew it was coming. And I was saying at halftime on the concourse in Stamford Bridge the other day, I was probably a few too many beers. Don't get me wrong, probably a few too many beers. But people were saying, how do we change this? Because as you said, Joe, in the first half, it was stale. It was grim. It was looking bad. Chelsea deserved to be leading at halftime. Genuinely, we were not doing anything. We did not look like we knew we were doing it all. So many players looked uncomfortable. So many players looked frustrated. It just looked off. And I was there, me being typical me with a few beers on me. Bring on Grealish. Bring on Grealish. He'll add something. He'll do something. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And those people in the concourse were saying, shut up, you Irish cunt. Understandable, I get it. But listen, Grealish comes on and he adds in what we needed. We needed a direct, aggressive runner, and that's what he did. And listen, something that we're seeing with him nowadays as well. I know I'm on a bit of a tangent here with Jack Grealish, but I mean it. I really mean it. He's adding things to his game, like I said. The massive one is he's now going to the byline. He's using his left foot. Pep has clearly said to Jack Grealish, use that fucking left peg of yours. I know you've got a sweet right foot, but stop using it all the time.
Only took him 18 months. Only took him 18 months to realise his left leg wasn't just for standing on, which is crazy.
Listen, mate,
well, he's finally done it. He's finally done it. I'm happy he's finally done it, but why is it taking him 18 months to realise that it's not just for standing on?
But listen, we won the league last season, so you can kind of go, it's not a disaster. He used the time. He learned. He's had to grow mentally, Jack Grealish, as well as grow into his role in the squad. He's had to grow into the big club, winning club mentality role that he's never had before. Jack Grealish at Villa never had that pressure of deliver trophies and deliver them now. It's taken him time to get used to that, and that's understandable. I think on a human level, you have to understand that when you come from a club like Villa, who, you know, it's just success when you're consistently in the Premier League. It's different to go into Manchester City where the pressure is on. You have to win the Premier League. It's going to take time to adapt. The price tag doesn't do any favors either, but like he says all the time, I didn't pick my price tag, fair enough, but I'm happy with him. I'm really happy with him. And Mara's, of course, too, has been in the firing line, but listen, there still is issues in the team. If we're keeping it real, there still is issues in the team. And I hope it's to do with all the experimenting Pep has done. The experimenting, I think, has to come to an end. It has to come to an end, and it has to come to an end when we go to Old Trafford. Old Trafford, I want the best starting 11. I want a formation that works. None of this one at the back. None of this two inverting fullbacks with two inverting midfielders. I mean, there's too much congestion in the centre of the park. There's too many players roaming around the centre of the park, and it just makes it easier to set up a low block and essentially keep us out. But listen, against Chelsea, did we deserve all 3 points? On the grand scheme of things, probably not. Would you agree that, I'd say, if we're being totally objective, a draw would probably have been the fairest result?
I don't even know if a draw was the fairest result. Chelsea hit the woodwork a couple of times. Like, argument to say they should have won it. They should have been leading at half-time. It's a genuine argument to say they should have won it. They had a couple of chances at the end that fell to just the wrong players, that just fell to the young players that they had on the pitch at the time, that just kind of got ahead of themselves more, senior head, cooler head, maybe buries it. We're incredibly lucky either way. We didn't deserve to win. At the very minimum, we didn't deserve to win. But we did. And again, what's the saying? That's what champions do. That's what champions do. We go there, we don't play well, we win games. This is a big run, and the 3 points is the most important thing that we can do right now, because Arsenal, seemingly enough, they've... it's a bit early yet, but judging on Newcastle, the head's just starting to wobble a little bit in that direction.
they're getting a little bit shaky. I mean, that's something we know we have. That's something we know we have, is that even when we're not playing well, we can still grind out results. And I said this on the video yesterday, and I think it's a very valid point, and I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, that yes, we look back on our title winning campaigns with a lot of fond memories, and we go, this was amazing what we did. And those 14, 15, whatever it was, game winning runs, 12, 13, 14, whatever it was, not every single one of those games in those runs were mesmerizing. You know, what was it we did? 14 odd game winning streak at one point. If you look back at all those performances, some of them we had to grind. Like, we had to grind. And I remember watching some of them at the time going, yeah, this is where the run ends. This is where the run ends. Then bang, someone will come up with a goal. Someone like a Sterling or someone random will come up with a goal, and you go, yes, we've got another one. You have to grind it out. Arsenal have not proved they can grind out results. Their next game is a North London derby. Their last game, they drop points to Newcastle. How is that going to affect them psychologically? I'm not for 1 second suggesting that the wheels are gonna fall off this Arsenal train and it's all gonna go to shit right now. No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is we know we can get our shit together after the wheels have fallen off or slightly wobbled. We know we can get our shit together. We don't know that about Arsenal. This game for them against Tottenham will be a massive telltale of where they are at. More importantly, if we do beat Man United and we do go 2 points behind them, that is going to affect them psychologically. Because there was a point a few days ago, they were going, how on earth are we 8 points ahead of Manchester City? And I'm not saying that because, you know, they don't deserve to be. They did. But they're probably going, how did City fall off like that? We were expecting a much bigger, test for Manchester City than we got. And all of a sudden now, we could be 2 points behind them when they have to go to Tottenham. And it's in White Hart Lane, I'm pretty sure. Tough test. The pressure is on. This is what it's all about. The pressure is on. Can you handle it? And then you got to play us. You've got us twice to go. All of a sudden, the mountain looks a lot bigger than it did before. Arsenal fans in December saying, we've won the league. We're going to win the league. Look at Manchester City. They're not as big and scary as they used to be. Listen, mate, we've gone nowhere. We've changed a few things. It's not running as fluidly, but the mentality is still the same. The mentality remains the same. The hunger remains the same. Something I was slightly concerned about, just in the back of my mind, when things were going to shit after the Brentford game and after the Everton game, I was kind of going, is there an element of human nature here whereby we've won so many Premier Leagues that the hunger levels just aren't at that 110% that you need them to be? I saw those players celebrate on the pitch in Stamford Bridge, I'd say no more than 10 meters away from me on Thursday night. And the way they celebrated, I said, no, the hunger is there. The hunger has gone nowhere. John Stones, Rico Lewis, Jack Grealish, they want this. They're in this race. They're in this war. They're going nowhere. And I loved it. The City fans loved it. You saw the clip that I got Joe to edit in that I took at the Chelsea game of the fans celebrating, singing Rico, and Johnny Stones, and all the chants. Players loving it. We're in this. We're going nowhere. Test Arsenal's bottle. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're testing their bottle. Have they got the character to go all the way and see this Premier League out? I don't think so. I don't think they have the same mentality as us. I'm not saying they can't in years to come, you know, with a loss in a Premier League or getting so close and missing out. They'll, you know, the hunger will rise and it'll be like the Liverpool 1920 thing where they worked so hard and they finally get their hands on it. I don't know. There's loads of ways you could look at it. But all I know is my team and my manager, they're in this race and they're going nowhere. If Arsenal win this league, they will have earned it. They will have really fucking earned it. And at that point, you hold your hands up and go, fucking fair enough. I've got so much confidence in this. I've got so much confidence in this. But Pep needs to just calm it down, mate. Stop. Put away the test tubes. Take your lab coat off. Stop trying to be Einstein and go back to what we know, man. Go back to what we know works. Get Walker in a comfortable role. Take Cancelo off the right wing. Take Phil Foden at a left wing back. When Diaz is back, put him back in. When Stones is on the pitch, Stones is the general. Stones is the general. He is the best centre-half in the Premier League right now, and he doesn't get enough respect. Listen, man, the race is on. The race is on, honestly, and I felt it in the stands. I felt it in the stands. Ask anybody who's in Stamford Bridge on Thursday. We're in this. We may not be playing well, but mentality takes you a long way. Listen, I've given you my tangent there. We can talk about it further, but I had to get it off my chest. I can't talk like that on the pre-recorded videos because, you know, time is at the essence at that point. But when I've got you live here, you'll get my rants.
Preach, brother, preach.
Come on, Fitzy.
What
do you reckon?
Nah, you're just gonna keep going because you never know. Again, we're just about approaching the halfway stage. We're not even halfway done. And we're already getting Arsenal fans saying they don't fear us. It's done. We're going to win the league. Nonsense. Got a long way to go.
I can't believe that attitude from Arsenal fans. I couldn't believe it when I was hearing it. Now, granted, it's none of my Arsenal friends. It's in fairness now, it's no one that I make content with who's Arsenal orientated, but it's the people who've come into the comment sections of our videos, people who are commenting on my tweets saying, City have fallen off, we've won this league, you're not as scary as you used to be. I said, listen, we're fucking, what was it, 16 games in, 20, or it wasn't even 16, was it? At the point anyway, my maths is off, but there was 22 games to go. I was saying, we're not halfway through this season, and you're saying you've beat us to the league. Wow, man. Wow, the naivety. We know about these races. We've been 11 points behind. We've been 14 points in front. We've won at a canter at times. We know every possible avenue to winning a Premier League, and you're writing us off in December. Have some respect. Have some shame. Come on, man. Wow. This is Manchester City you're talking about. This is no new boy on the block. Whether you want to call us the rich oil club who have no history or not, that's up to you. But in the last few years, this squad and this manager, they've done it every possible way in this competition. Have some respect. Have some respect, you gooners. I love the football Arsenal are playing, I must say. They're playing fantastic football. Big ups to Arteta. Big ups to everything they have going on there. They're doing things right. They're doing things organically and well, and I admire that. But it's the fans that had just written us off. They need to give their heads a wobble. They need to put some more respect on the champions. I swear, man. What do you think, Joe?
They're getting too ahead of themselves. It almost feels like they're kind of deflecting before they're behind. Like they're trying to sort of convince themselves really that if they don't go on and win it, or if they do drop off, it's not the end of the world and there's no real challenge, and they're not scared because they didn't expect to be in this situation. Well, I got a newsflash. I don't care if you didn't expect to be in this situation. You are in this situation. You're in a title race with one of the most dominant domestic teams ever. 4-5. One of the most dominant domestic teams ever. You're in a battle with that juggernaut, with players that are hungry for success. Calvin Phillips, Erling Haaland, these new signings, they haven't won. They haven't won these trophies in this country yet. They want these trophies. They want their first taste of success. We've got senior players here who've won it all before and want to do it again. We've got a manager who could have easily said, no, I've won everything in the country. I'm off. See you later. He signed a contract extension. He wants to keep going. He wants to keep winning. You say you're not scared. Good for you. Good for you, really.
I'd be scared.
I'd be absolutely fucking terrified if I was an Arsenal fan.
I'd be scared. I'd be scared on the basis of the fact that all the waffle you've given us, that it's going to come back with egg in your face and make you look like a fucking idiot. If you'd done the whole thing, I want to re-emphasize, I'm talking about these Arsenal fans that we've all seen. We've all seen them crawling around Twitter, giving it the big one, saying they've won the league, that City are crap, City have fallen off. I'm talking about these Arsenal fans. I'm not generalizing here for 1 sec, so please don't get me wrong. I would be scared for those who gave that kind of shit. Because if we go on to lift this Premier League in May, all of a sudden they look like fucking clowns. Mega clowns. Scared.
I'd also be terrified because, like you said, when we've gone on these long game winning runs, 14 games and even sometimes 20 to 30 game unbeaten runs, we haven't done that yet. We haven't kicked into gear yet. We haven't hit second half of the season City form. We haven't done that. We very rarely don't have a patch where we just win and win and win again and win again and again and again, over and over again. No matter how bad we're playing, we just win all the time. We haven't had that yet. Arsenal, they had that at the start of the season. They had that. Their home record, they're unbeaten at home this season. That Newcastle draw was the first time they dropped points at home all season. They've had their long, unbeaten run, especially at home. Of course, they had that loss to United. They did draw to Southampton earlier in the season, but they've had a mega run. We haven't. I still believe that we will have a mega run. We play well. What is the thing we say? We play well when we play every 3 days. We're about to hit every 3 days until the end of the season. Can Arsenal realistically keep up? I mean, you look at the Arsenal fans, they're going, we're definitely going to win this league if we sign a couple of players. We sign a couple of players, it's over. They think if they get, a winger, if they get that Mudryk and they get like a midfielder, it's over. The Premier League is theirs. And they've won it already after just 2 signings. Nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. Because, I mean, one, who's saying you're going to sign them players? And two, who's saying they're going to be any good?
They need to reassess their thought process. Now, there is a lot of Arsenal fans, in fairness to them, who are like, listen, we know that we're racing with City here. We know that City can put together a run. And I respect those Arsenal fans who respect football and they understand football and what they've seen in recent years. But, like, to suggest that you've won the league is just absolutely ludicrous. It's just absolutely ludicrous. We have all the players. We have all the depth we need. I don't think we need to bring in anybody in January. We don't need to lose anybody, obviously. The hunger's there. Pep just needs to make sure he has it right. As long as Pep has the team sheet right, playing in the right formation, we will go on a run. We've beaten Chelsea now. We go on to United. Do I care about tomorrow's game? We can touch on that at the end of the stream, but not massively. Listen, with all due respect to the FA Cup, I don't massively care about it this year for some reason. Something feels different to me this year. I want the Premier League and I want the Champions League. I want both of them. If that is to the detriment of both cup competitions, I'm kind of okay with it. I'm already looking at Manchester Derby next week. I'm going to Old Trafford next week and I'm expecting a win. I know Man United are in form. We'll do a proper preview on that, but I expect a win. If we win at Old Trafford next week, that's the beginning of the run. Beat Tottenham, our bogey team, all of a sudden the run becomes real. We can go on a proper run. Dap says, spot on, Hugh. That was the biggest thing I saw Thursday. The players celebrating told me we are up for this as any other season. There's nothing new. Pep does not play players who aren't hungry. Everybody is hungry. Everybody wants this. I don't fear Derby one bit. United will get owned. I can't wait for that game, man. I can't wait for that. I mean, is there anything else about that Chelsea game? I don't know. The title race is obviously the main talking point. It really is the main talking point, and it probably will be until someone pulls away and it looks like they've won it at a canter. I don't know. Is there a possibility anybody could win it at a canter? If it is to be anybody, I think it's us. If Arsenal have a massive slip up and we go on a massive run and run away with it, that's that. I think if Arsenal had to win the league, we will have pushed them the full distance. I don't think we're going anywhere. To say we're not the same juggernaut we were, it's probably fair, but to say we've fallen off and we're not, anywhere near as good as we used to be, think again, reassess your thought process because you have it completely wrong. I need to put some more respect in this team. Now, let's talk a bit about players, Joe, because some players are having better periods in time right now than others. Obviously, we spoke about Jack Grealish, who is gradually improving. I think he's really coming into his own. You know how I feel about that, and I think you can tell that Joe feels similar to me. He's happy with what he's seeing, and I think he thinks he sees progression. But some players look heavily off, and the three names that come to mind are Foden, Cancelo, and Walker, and that's based purely off the Chelsea game. And like I said in the video yesterday, I get they haven't played a huge amount of football, but where is it going wrong for those three? Like I said, I don't analyze the games as well when I'm at them as well as I do when I'm watching on TV. But Joe, you watched on TV. Is there anything you picked up from those three players? Any moments in the game? Anything major that you kind of go, this is where it could possibly be going wrong? Or have you any feelings or thoughts as to why they don't look great? Or do you think they look great?
I want to add a +1 to that list, and it's going to come as no surprise if you've been around for long enough as to who that is, but it is Kevin De Bruyne. We do have to also speak about his last couple of games as well. They have been shocking. Again, this is the thing that I think it just really annoys me the most. It's just the complete lack of... Because I don't know whether it's because he's so good or whether it's because of what he tries to do. I don't know, but there is no average with Kevin De Bruyne. It's either really, really fucking good or really, really fucking shit. It's one or the other. You don't get average with the man. You get 9s, 10s, maybe 8s. You don't get 7s or 6s. You end up with 5s and 4s. That's it. There's no middle ground. He's either really, really good or just really, really bad. And it's one of the games yesterday against Chelsea where, granted, the first half doesn't help because everybody is all over the place positionally because no one knows where they're supposed to be playing because Pep's fiddled about with it again. But there was just no improvement in the second half when he did change it to something that was more familiar to the players. He didn't really step into the game. If you want to nitpick at good moments, he had the pre-assist for the goal. He passed it to Grealish away. But other than that, he just gave the ball away. His crossing wasn't great. His set-piece delivery, again, wasn't great. I've been saying this for ages. He's just not a good set-piece taker. For how good his crossing can be, his crossing from set-pieces can be woeful. And it often is. And that's not really saying that you take him off him because realistically no one else in our team is good at set pieces. Foden's not great. Grealish is probably taking the best that I've seen, but he's not a starter every week. Mahrez ain't great.
Foden's not great.
Yeah, just no one's great at them. But again, you keep him on because he has a moment, but I'm almost starting to double back on that and go, how many times are you sit there saying, well, you got to keep him on because he has a moment, but how many times does he actually come out with a moment? That's not the most. So I don't know. I'm expecting big improvements, but I'm at a loss as to. I mean, what we came back after the World Cup, we did it. Everybody was slagging him off on the Big Six Extra, saying that he's not as good as everybody thinks he is, and they need to calm down because he's great. And then he puts in a great performance against Liverpool, and we're all sat there ranting and raving, going, "Yeah, shut up, he's great." And then he turns up, against Leeds, and it's kind of that was kind of an average game. So maybe I lie about him not being average. That was kind of an average. Just a standard game. And then we go to Everton. Poor Chelsea, poor. It's just, I don't know what to think, but I'm expecting better. But on the Walker, Cancelo and Foden thing, it's purely, in my opinion now, this is just the Chelsea game. Walker's barely played this season because he's been trying to play for injury. Cancelo, the start of the season, great until he ended up getting sent off, and then it kind of just petered out from there. And then Foden just ended up getting dropped just before the World Cup as well, even though he started off great again. He's our second top scorer, our third top goal involvement this season. But he just can't get on the pitch, and he doesn't get in the pitch on a role that suits him. I mean, he was playing left wing back against Chelsea. Why is he playing left wing back? Cancelo playing on the right wing. Why is he playing on the right wing? He's never played on the right wing for us. Walker and Cancelo are both playing down the same side, with also De Bruyne out on the right-hand side, and Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. We've got 4 players down the right-hand side. There's too many. And one of those players is playing in the position that he's never played for us before. It's experimental Pep. And I do truly believe that, of course, I think Walker's the most concerning out of all of them, because he was essentially in his position as a right-back. So why he was poor, I don't know. He should have been fine. He was in his position. Maybe it was just down to this sheer amount of bodies down on the right-hand side. I think you put Cancelo back into a more comfortable role where he's playing as a full-back. I think he thrives when he's able to go one-on-one with a player, whether it's an opposition full-back or opposition winger who's tracking back. I think he thrives because he's a creative player. He's a technically gifted player. I think he's better when he has a bit more space. So him having 4 players around him on the right wing didn't suit him. I mean, there was that one throw-in, wasn't there, in the first half where Walker tried to kill Bernardo Silva. I don't know what he was playing at there, but I just think you just got to stop experimenting. The basics of football. You got to put players back in their right positions, man. You gotta let it click. You can't play Foden as a wing-back because it's just a waste. It's a complete waste of a guy who's our second top scorer this season. Playing him as a wing-back, it's just not on. And the fact that most of our attacks, from what I could see, were down that right-hand side. Foden barely got a touch of the ball in the first half. I think we need to use him more and use him in a role that's actually going to bring the best out of him, because he's far too good to be sat on the bench. I don't know. I have full trust in Pep that he'll sort it and he'll figure it out, and if they don't play well, they'll hold the bench. Although I'm not particularly looking forward to Grealish and Mahrez, because even though they won the game, I still think that as a pairing, it just lacks so much. And it was funny, the press conference, wasn't it? Because he said, this is the lineup the fans wanted to see. And it's like, no, Pep, we didn't want to see these players playing this position and that position. We wanted to see these players, but not how you put them out. So I'm not worried. I'm really not worried. I think it's a rough patch. I mean, Foden, that was what, his first start? Was it his first start since the World Cup? It almost looked like it at times, really. He didn't really look on it, but again, he didn't really get much of the ball. He's playing out of position, man. Pep, just play the man in the position that he's going to play well in. For goodness sake, it's not rocket science. Although he tries his hardest to make it look like rocket science.
Listen, we can take comfort from the fact that Pep has done this so many times over the years, where he does something very outlandish and he tries it for a bit too long because he's stubborn. You know, his experimenting goes on a little bit too long, and we're going, right, Pep, reel it in. Let's bring it back. But I think his experimenting almost always comes to a successful conclusion, and he gets it right eventually. It's almost like he has to make a few changes that affect the team badly, just to get the solution that he wants, the answer that he wants. You know, try and test, trial and error, and then he eventually puts all his evidence together and goes, right, this is what's going to work. And we all go, wow, this is working now. This is what we want to see. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with De Bruyne is all the players playing out of position and all the player and the congestion and all that kind of thing you're talking about. I think De Bruyne is actually a victim of this Pep experimenting more so than anybody else. The Pep experimenting that's going on is generally involving a lot of midfield congestion, players inverting, two fullbacks inverting, wingers who don't like to go near the touchline in Mahrez and Grealish. But listen, I'll get onto that. I have my talking points on that. But what we've seen to date is Grealish and Mahrez taking up the centre of the park, two fullbacks, most of the time taking up the centre of the park. Rico Lewis obviously doesn't even play as a right back most of the time. He's another defensive midfielder alongside Rodri. That's more congestion. All these players taking up space that a space reliant player like Kevin De Bruyne isn't going to flourish in. Kevin De Bruyne loves the space where he can knock the ball around. He can make those surging runs, those almost Yaya Toure-esque runs that we've seen De Bruyne make. And that relies on space. You need to hold your width for that. And there's no width in our team right now. There really is no width at all. But that brings me back to the Grealish and Mahrez point, which is that something I touched on earlier on is that Grealish is adding things to his game. And one of the things that I said he's adding to his game is he's going to the byline more. Grealish is starting to use his wing more efficiently. He's being more effective using his wing. He's no longer just this winger who comes in a little bit, gets the ball and moves it on. Gets the ball, moves it on. No, he's now using his wing. He's going to the byline. He's using his left foot. This is probably why Pep is hammering this Grealish-Mahrez partnership, because he's telling Grealish to tweak his game, add this, add this, add this. Then all of a sudden, the partnership does work. Mahrez can be the same Mahrez he always was. Cut in the left foot, cross it in, go for goal, yada, yada, yada. But in order for that to be successful and look good, Grealish has to do his job on the far side, which is use his wing properly, be a dynamic winger, a winger with versatility and more tools in his toolbox than just cutting in his right foot and passing it backwards or sideways. And we're seeing that now. So I can actually start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can see the experiment that Pep's wanting to do. If my theory is correct, I can see what he's trying to do, but it's just a bit of a slog to get to the end product. De Bruyne, to get back into form, is relying on the system to work and to click. When the system clicks and everybody knows their roles and knows where they have to be, and it's not new and it's not rocket science to them all anymore, you'll see De Bruyne flourish again. I don't know. Have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, he just needs to figure it out and stop messing about with it. I mean, it just is. It's but I understand, because you never know, if you do tweak these things, you might come across an absolute genius and come across a masterstroke that works. But it's infuriating to watch Foden playing as a wing back, and essentially, I mean, you're there to hold the width, and if the ball comes across your side, great. But we're not gonna go down your side that often. You're kind of on your own. Like, if you look at I don't know what the app is, but because I don't use it, but there is one out there, a football app, that tells you the average position of the players. Everyone's down the right, and there's just Foden on the left on his own. That kind of just sums up the game, really. He wasn't in the game because we didn't use him, and Grealish comes on after the system was tweaked, and he's in the game because we decide, yeah, that's not working, let's change it. It's the same thing where I was scratching my head at the Bernardo Silva substitution, because we changed the system, and all of a sudden he started to grow into the game. He'd spun Cucurella a couple of times, and then he comes off. It's one of them that, even though the sub works, and he looks a genius because the sub works, it's just really, really confusing to me why he made it in the first place. But again, I'm not like gonna overanalyze it, because we didn't lose, we didn't draw, we won. So there's no point saying, but this could have been better, and we should have done this, and we shouldn't have done this, because we won. That was the aim. We won. He will sort it out. We will get players playing better. But just just on my take on this, is just play players in their actual position, and they will play well. That's just as simple as that. Play the players in the roles that, I mean, you signed them for. They've been playing for the last 2-3 years, most of them, some of them 4 years even, and you'll get results out of them. Foden's not playing well. This is his first game back, and he's playing in a role that, is he ever played before? I don't really think. He's played as a left back before, when he first came through into the first team. That was it. And then he's asked to play there against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, all on his own with no one in support. I don't think he's going to try that again. I really don't think he's going to try that again.
I think there's method to Pep's madness. I think even though at times to us it is bemusing, like you said, and you're going, what is he doing? Can't he not see what we're seeing? I think he's trying things out. And like I said, he's collecting evidence, he's collecting data, he's collecting everything he needs to see to eventually put his puzzle together, put the pieces of the puzzle together. And I think it'll make sense eventually. And I think that Chelsea game was a massive case study for Pep in the things he tried out, because some of them were wild, like the Walker Cancelo on the same side, Phil Foden left wing back and whatnot. They were wild, and I'm sure he's learned everything he needs to learn from that. But I'd expect a much more straightforward team sheet against Man United. Listen, I'll look at the chat here, see what people are saying. D1, Hugh and Joe, do you think we'll pursue Declan Rice? Rumours that West Ham want Phillips and could be willing to do a swap plus money deal. No, I don't think it's true at all. I think Declan Rice is probably Chelsea or Man United bound, one or the other. Chelsea more than likely, or Chelsea more likely than United. But he's not coming to us. I think it's ludicrous to suggest that we would part ways with a player who's barely kicked the ball. He came on against Chelsea, Calvin Phillips, didn't really put a foot wrong, looked okay. He just needs more performances. I would expect Calvin Phillips will start tomorrow, or at least get a good half an hour of football, and then we've already been told, haven't we, that he's going to start against Southampton. So just kind of allow Calvin Phillips. I think the whole Declan Rice Calvin Phillips swap deal plus cash, it's just pure paper talk. We need Foden, Walker, Laporte, Phillips, Alvarez game time. There's a lot of players need game time. You know, the game time is an issue for a lot of players, and World Cup hangover and whatnot. It's circumstantial, some of it. I think Joe's right that second half of the season run is coming, but it has been delayed due to the Qatar World Cup. KDB must be rested for Demolition Derby Day. I think KDB, I'd be surprised if he features at all tomorrow, would you?
No, I'd be more surprised if he features against Southampton. I think Pep will look at it and go, Chelsea, big game. He wants to win. We know he wants to win everything. The man is crazy. He played half of what we considered to be like our best team last season. Against, well, I know I think there was like an illness or a lot of injuries, but who was it? Was it Swindon away in the FA Cup last season where he played Diaz and Rodri and like he played Bernardo Silva, Gundogan. Like he played half our first team away against like Swindon last season in the FA Cup. There was no need, but he goes for it. Which, yeah, great, fantastic. I love winning trophies, but again, I'm not too arsed if you just throw this one away. I'm really not. I got bigger things to go.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I prefer him not to play, and I prefer him not to play against Southampton. Give him the rest, and hopefully the rest time does him good, because he rushed back, didn't he? He rushed back from the World Cup to be involved in the Girona game. Then he was involved in the Liverpool. He's played it pretty well every minute of football he possibly could for a long, long time now. Maybe the rest would do him good. Yeah, he does look a little bit tired as well at times. Perhaps just to throw off the opponents as New York City. Listen, we may as well touch on tomorrow's game. Chelsea in the FA Cup. What round is it? The fourth round?
I believe it's the third round. I don't think we've played the FA Cup this year.
Oh, third round then. Listen, there you go. That's how little attention I've paid to the FA Cup. Third round of the FA Cup, and we're playing Chelsea again. I don't know. It's a weird one. I mean, do you want to say how you feel about it? I'm not really sure how I feel about it. It's a game that I'd probably rather not have. I'd much rather have drawn to someone like a Wickham again in the FA Cup and just field an EDS, sided team. But because it's Chelsea, like you said, Pep will probably go big game, play big players. We want to win, make a statement, blah blah blah. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Well, it definitely is the first FA Cup game we played this season, because I haven't used the FA Cup, the giant FA Cup that's in the middle of the screen.
Oh, exciting!
It's there. D1 Millie's been screaming at me for ages.
Did you just change that there?
I did just change that, yeah. It was.
Go on, Joe, man. W's in the chat for our techie boy Joe. W's in the chat for techie boy Joe.
Was the Premier League while we were talking about it? No, it's the FA Cup, because it is that time to get onto the game tomorrow. D1 Millie's been screaming at me for ages to get the predicted 11 up. It's like, patience, calm. It will come. We're not on that yet. So
now.
It is. That's what I've gone for, because that's what I think Pep will go for. To be honest, I'm not too happy with it, but
right. Well, I'll do my tannoid. I'll read it out.
No, we're not doing this yet. Listen, before he does his tannoid, right? I'm not happy about the team, but this is what I think he's most likely to go with. But at the end of the day, this is a cup game. I'm throwing names I throw shit at the wall and hoping it sticks.
All right. Your team to play, your champions of England, Manchester City. In goals, Stefan Ortega. I'm not. My voice is too sore to do the whole thing.
Don't do that.
Rico Lewis.
You also,
Johnny.
you also missed the guy always reads the numbers. Number whatever 82. Rico Lewis.
Yo, you need to start providing me with the numbers so I can do the tannoid properly.
Hey.
You get the tannoid properly, people, when I get the numbers. Rico Lewis, John Stones, Akanji, Ake, Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo.
Of course you have to be like food, don't you? Gee, it's like a ritual, isn't it?
I hate
It's
when I'm
so
at the
bad.
stadium
It's
and your
so
man
bad.
reads out Bernardo and he goes, Bernardo. Like, no, stop,
It's
please
so
stop.
bad. It's awful. It's truly awful, but he does it every time without fail.
Anyways, midfield, Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo, front three, Grealish, Alvarez, Mahrez. Strong team. Strong team. Do you want to talk us through it a little bit?
I kind of just based this off the cup game against Chelsea, the Carabao Cup game against Chelsea, which was kind of similar. Maybe a few changes. I think we might have had Sergio Gomez play there. I mean, the quotes that came out not too long ago about him just not trusting Sergio Gomez whatsoever just tell me that he's probably going to start Southampton, but he won't be involved here unless we're like winning by a lot. Because again, it's Pep, it's a cup competition. He will want to win. And I think, it's not often that Pep Guardiola looks at the schedule and looks ahead at games. He normally always, in his press conferences, goes one game at a time. We've got this game first. You know, there'll be guaranteeing the press conference for Southampton, or it would have happened before. You know where he's asked about a game a couple of games from now, like a derby's coming up a couple of games from now, and he goes, "Oh, we got this game first. We've got to focus on this game first." He normally never strays from the game that's in front of him. He's already come out with quotes for the Southampton game of Calvin Phillips is going to start the Southampton game, so he's looking ahead already at that Southampton game and going, "They're not great. I can play a good team against Chelsea because I can rotate a little bit more against Southampton." I think that's kind of what he's thinking, which is why the team is so strong. I think Southampton will be used for players who aren't going to play loads or haven't played loads since the restart, players who might be coming back from injury, etc., etc. Like you probably see, Cancelo and Walker play normal roles. Phillips will start, get some minutes. I'd expect Laporte to be back from injury. I didn't put him in today for this predicted 11 because, the first time he's trained in probably a couple of weeks, so I don't think he'll be thrown straight in. I think that's more a Southampton job. Same thing with Palmer. I was tempted, but again, I think he'll probably play against Southampton. I was really tempted to go with the front two. I was really tempted to put Alvarez with Haaland and just drop one of the wingers. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. Again, I'm throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks. I don't know what he's going to do. If anyone here in the chat can get inside that man's head about what he's thinking about this game, please let me know, because I am struggling.
I'm looking forward to it, though. I'm looking to see what he does come up with. Is he going to do a lot more experimenting? And someone makes a good point in the chat here, which is Alex says, Chelsea got some good kids. We need to be careful and pass better. Chelsea have some really good young players. And a good point I heard on a show last night, I forget what show it was I was watching, was that it might be a better option for Graham Potter to play the young players even in the big games, because they're playing for him. And it seems like some of their older players, like your Jorginhos, your Aubameyangs, maybe not so much Sterling, even Koulibaly, some of the more experienced players, it almost looks like they're not buying into the Graham Potter way of things right now. They don't seem to be enjoying it, but the young players will revel in the opportunity to play, and they will give more, heart and soul, if you like, into performance than those senior players who are questioning things and maybe aren't overall satisfied with the direction. So tomorrow's game could possibly be trickier if Graham Potter decides to field the younger team. If the likes of Chukwuemeka and those sort of players, and that Lewis Hall's a good player, he causes problems in the Carabao game. That's just the way I see it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what we come up with. I think the Grealish-Mahrez partnership is probably what we'll see. Or do you think maybe more minutes for Phil Foden?
I'd love to see Phil Foden played on the wing because, he wasn't played there last time. So I'd love to see it, but I think because his performance was so lacklustre, I don't think we will, and I'm pretty sure this is the same wing partnership. This is the same front three. I am almost certain this is the same front three that he played in the Carabao Cup game against Chelsea, which is exactly why I went for it, just because it's the same, and it's something that he's done before in a cup match against Chelsea, so there's a good chance he'll do it again. That's my only reasoning, because I don't know. But again, this is the thing. I'm looking at Southampton and going, there's no way Haaland's playing against Southampton. Are you going to not play him against Chelsea as well and him have a whole week off where he could lose a bit of rhythm, that he's only just starting to slowly regain that rhythm? So I'm not really sure. I think there's genuinely a good chance that he does play Haaland simply for the sake of he's starting to get that rhythm back. You don't want him to have a week off and be a little bit reset for the derby. You'd quite like him to just carry on going a little bit. So I don't know whether he'd play against Chelsea, because, again, there's not a chance he plays against. I will be shocked if he names the first team against Southampton. I really would. I'd be surprised if any of the first team players start against Southampton, because I think they're bottom of the Premier League right now. Like,
They are.
Like, come on. Really, Haaland shouldn't be playing, De Bruyne shouldn't be playing. We shouldn't be playing John Stones or, Bernardo Silva. We shouldn't be playing any of the big guns, the big guns. We shouldn't be playing Rodri either. That should be a game where you look at and going, rest for the derby. Rest for the derby, put the other players out. If we need them, they're on the bench. With Chelsea...
Or we could play Haaland against Southampton and just let him stat pad. Let him go bag 5.
Just let him go bag 5 before we go play Man United. I mean, that could also work.
Let him go break 2 or 3 more records on Wednesday night in Southampton and then move on to the derby. I think you're right, though. He won't play them both. I wouldn't be surprised if we see my front three tomorrow in Grealish, Haaland, Foden. I think he will want to get Foden minutes, and it will probably be to the detriment of one of Grealish or Mahrez. And I hope it's Mahrez, even though he scored the goal. I want the Grealish, Haaland, Foden front three. But listen, it's one of those games. It's hard to do a preview for this game, because you don't know. Like Joe said, if you could get inside his head and know what he's thinking, you'd be a millionaire at this point, because no one knows what he's going to do. There's no evidence to work off. You don't know what to think. You don't know what he's going to do.
The only evidence I've got is the last team that he played in that Carabao Cup. I've got it in front of me. I went searching. And essentially what it is, Ruben Diaz and Albert Laporte. Laporte's only just back in training. Diaz is injured. So it can't be them. I don't think it'll be Gomez, because seemingly he just isn't in favour. The midfield was Rodri, Gundogan and Cole Palmer. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if Cole Palmer starts. I really wouldn't. But I think he's looking more towards the Southampton game and going, 90 minutes there, you play there. And again, Riyad Mahrez, Jack Grealish, Julian Alvarez, that was the front three. I think he'll stick with that. It's hard. You never know what he's going to do. He's very bold when it comes to these team selections.
People, get in your score predictions for tomorrow, because I'm struggling to know how to preview this game. I really am. I don't know what to think. It'll give us an indication of what to know for Southampton or what to talk about for Southampton. But for this game tomorrow, with a Manchester derby coming up and having just played a heavy Premier League game against Chelsea, it's impossible to know what he's thinking tomorrow. Maybe Laporte will start. I don't know. Get in your score predictions. But Clinical's here with a banger. He says, Joe, you fully know first team players are going to play against Southampton, and Pep is going to say they have so much quality. Don't let their league position trick you. Such a Pep thing to say.
It's unbelievably Pep going, they gave us such a tough time. Unbelievable. They are so good.
You just know he's going to reference the fact that we've had problems with Southampton in the past. He'll disregard the league position, like Clinical said, but he will reference the fact that we've gone there and had problems in the past, which is why we've had to play every single starting 11 player and recall Sergio Aguero from retirement to play this game as well.
It's so unbelievably Pep Guardiola to do that and go play the first team there and play no one against Chelsea. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievably accurate. I hate it so much.
It's also a quarterfinal, mind you. We're at the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, so he will, like knowing Pep, he'll want to win it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, we are going to absolutely demolish them. That could be 6.
There is a world where, he could play a full-strength team against Southampton because it's a quarterfinal, and then take them off at half-time when we're hopefully winning by a goal or two, and rest for the second half. That would be really, really Pep-like, you know what I'm saying?
Get knocked out by Chelsea because it's the third round and he plays a rotated team and he doesn't care all too much. Rocks up to Southampton away, we're bottom of the Premier League, full team, for 4-0 at half-time.
There is also a world where he plays the full-strength team every game this week. He just decides, yeah, Chelsea, big club, big game, have to win that. You're all going out. Southampton, Carabao quarter-final. Don't let their league position deceive you. They've given us problems in the past. You're all going out. Manchester Derby, you're all going out. This is Pep Guardiola.
It's absolutely crazy. No other club in the world decides, yeah, I've got 2 cup games and a league game in the space of a week. You know what I'm going to do? Full team, every single one.
You just know Pep's always seems to find a reason as to why he has to field his strongest 11 or an unnecessarily strong team. It's just Pep Guardiola written all over it. Anyways, we love him. I think we're going to win tomorrow. I think we're going to win every game this week. I was going to say something crazy there, but I'm not going to. I think we're going to win every game this week. Let's see what people are saying score prediction wise. Jonah 2-1 Sitze. Alec 3-0 City. Alvarez 2. Grealish 1. D1, 2-0 City goals from Mahrez and for Haaland. Seamus says 2-1 City win. New York City says Manchester City 3-1 Chelsea. Alvarez with a brace and Palmer bags a goal. Palmer's still waiting on his Premier League goal, isn't he? Prem soon come, but he's got a few cup goals. Or he's got one in the Carabao and one in the FA Cup, I believe. Yes, Tejas in the chat. Evening, Huey. He's a big Chelsea fan, Tejas, but he's a good lad. He says smash the likes through the roof. Let's get you to 5k. Big up, Tejas. Clinical 1-0 City. Alvarez to score. And Alex says 3-0 to City, and Southampton 1, City 4, Rags. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Alec. And Aaron the Brit says 4-1, come on City. Listen, like I said, I was struggling. I'm not sure what to say. Well, there's not much more you can say on this game tomorrow. I'll definitely do a video after the game where I give you my thoughts on what I saw. I'm sure with it being a cup game and it being really unpredictable as to who he picks, there'll be a lot of talking points after the game. So I'll do a video pretty quickly after the game. So keep your notifications turned on for that. Big week ahead, people. Big week ahead. Starting tomorrow, cup game. We do want to win. I know me and Joe are saying like we wouldn't mind if we didn't win and such, but we do want to win deep down. We want to beat Southampton on Wednesday, and then of course we're looking towards that Manchester Derby. That Manchester Derby, it is the peak of the week. It's the main talking point this week. Plenty of content. Maybe I'll see Saeed around. If some of you want to see a stream with Saeed, we can do a preview with him, or maybe another United fan, whoever's around. We'll definitely do big Manchester Derby content. Maybe we'll see Big Steve around or Lewis from City Extra. We'll do plenty of Derby content. That's the big one this week. So make sure you have the notification bell turned on. Like I said, make sure you're subscribed to the channel on our road to 5k. And just do us a favor, if you haven't done so already, leave a like on the stream. If you're watching on playback, do leave a like on the stream. Do you get Cass on for the Derby? Yeah, I might hit up Cass. I haven't had Cass on the channel before. I've been on Never a Foul a few times. So it'd be great to get Cass on if he's up for a Derby chat. He's a good lad too. It's about winning to keep good form for UCL. Seamus is all over that Champions League, man. Seamus wants that Champions League. Listen, we're going to wrap it up. Just kind of a relaxed chat tonight, really wasn't. It was free flowing. We gave our thoughts on what's going on in Liverpool and the Chelsea City game the other day, and a little bit about tomorrow. So we just talked about what we've been thinking the last few days. Plenty more to talk about this week, no doubt, with all the big fixtures. So listen, we'll see you very soon. Video tomorrow. We'll do another stream.
Oi.
Maybe what?
Score predictions.
Oh, listen, I'm all over that. Lads, I've been working all day. My head's all over the place. I've been working. I did an 8-hour shift today, so I'm tired. My head's all over the place. Joe, go on, give me a score prediction.
2-1. A couple of clean sheets in a row against Chelsea. I don't have the faith because I don't know what team he's going to put out. But in terms of a goal scorer, Alvarez, hopefully he can play because long due some Alvarez minutes. Enjoyed watching him at the World Cup. And, well, there's a high chance he plays in both of the cup games. 2-1 Alvarez goal.
2-1 Alvarez goal. I'm going to go with a 3-1 and Grealish goal.
Whee!
Shock. No, Grealish, he's been improving. His stats have been improving, and the goal is coming next. Grealish score, 3-1 for me, 2-1 for Joe. And City wins all round, man. City wins all round. We're always back in City wins. Listen, we'll see you tomorrow. Like I said, I'll have a pre-recorded video, so do keep an eye out for that. Listen, lads, the support on the videos recently has been great. You're all smashing the likes. You're all leaving comments. You're all getting involved. The views are going up. The channel's getting bigger. So big love to absolutely every single one of you. We genuinely really appreciate it. So much more content to come. There's so much more to look forward to, and we love you guys being a part of it too. So listen, video tomorrow. We'll do a stream, I reckon, somewhere in between Southampton and or Chelsea and Southampton, and then after Southampton, immediately we'll start to look at Derby content. So much to do, so much to look forward to. Come on, City. Wrap her up, Joy Boy. Good night and God bless, people.
Listen to your heart. Tell me who you want to be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me that you understand. 'cause you are